Welcome in, everyone. Joel Atkins, this better be a great show. I'm missing the Cowboys game for it. I don't know enough about American sports to understand what that reference means, but probably not. But hey, look, we can't all be the best in the tabletop game or best in faction, but with all the data slates, meta changes, is someone's ITC score in January worth the same as it is now? If we remember to get to it after the memes, we're probably maybe going to talk about it later. Who knows? My co-host today needs some circumvallation. I have to start looking up these words now. It's Danny McDivett.
Oh, I had to super delay like Valdez. Sorry about that.
Wow.
Yeah,
That screen is so large. That is terrifying.
Sorry, guys.
If you're not joining us every Monday Night Live to see just how, I'm assuming if you look at our YouTube metrics, by the way, that if you're watching or listening to this, you're between 35 and 40. So you remember giant CRT TVs. That's what Danny's in right now is my parents' television. Danny, how you doing?
John, I'm here. And I'm glad to be here, in fact. Shockingly, surprisingly, I'm ready to talk about some memes. And I'm really sorry that you're missing the Houston Cowboys baseball game, but, we'll hopefully we'll get done soon and you can get back to watching it. I hope you DVR'd it.
Yeah. Next week we won't interrupt any basketball. Don't you worry about that.
I think it's Quidditch. Quidditch.
Quidditch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Quidditch. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the voice you're hearing is, of course, superstar producer Dickie, who is unaware that
I am unaware.
He's unaware. The Quidditch professional Quidditch league has moved away from the term Quidditch due to the awfulness of the Harry Potter creator. So they've renamed it to something less offensive. And if I had prepared this joke ahead of time, I would have said something really offensive now. But anyway,
yeah, it's called Cumbrooms. It's perfect. Because you come over to the other side of the field to throw the ball into the hoop.
So it's a ring, isn't it?
It's fair.
Isn't it a ring?
The game ends when the person cum balls. Anyway, this one,
jeez,
you can only do it once. This one, though, Danny, hit me really hard as a meme that I found here on Facebook. Has nothing to do with Quidditch.
It all depends on the refractory period, John. That's what's really the important timer.
It's a cat that's being interviewed. So you've been playing 40K for how long? The cat's been playing 27 years. Wow, you must be very good at it. And a very sad cat face, letting us know that no, he's not good at it. Danny, how long have you been playing Warhammer?
Oh, let's not talk about it. It's like 23 years. Oh, God. 24 years. Like,
you
really
must be amazing.
Yeah, follow up on that. Are you good at it?
No.
Jeez.
So, what, in an overall way, do you feel you can do to improve at Warhammer?
Great question, John. There's probably a lot of things that I could do that I choose not to.
Okay, what is the number one thing that isn't playing more, but that you could do to be better, but you just refuse?
I don't know. I could try and get super meta with my list and try and copy other people's stuff. I try and do my own thing a lot, and that's probably not the best strategy, to be quite honest.
Entire industries have been created to let people copy other people's lists.
It's true.
Does it bother you that someone like a guest from a couple of weeks ago, Anthony Vanella, has played for less time than you've had that unopened Kill Team box in your study?
Yeah. It's an Apocalypse box, John, actually.
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And then the Apocalypse box, super cool. Can't wait to play that. And then just never do. I think that's the best way to play Apocalypse, is organized to do it and then just never actually do it.
Yeah, I tried to play one time on film, and I didn't know I was supposed to be the rules expert for that particular game, and we stopped after turn one, and I'm like, how does that work again? I don't know. Let's read the rule book. And so we had to pause like a million times.
I remember. Okay, so that comes actually from a time where Danny and I were doing mob rules, and we had received the Apocalypse box to review, and you were playing a game of Apocalypse with someone else to kind of record a thing to show how great it's going to be, and I was there playing a 40k game, like the same person, with someone else, and just remember turning around and you'd be like, "Look, I didn't realize I was the one who was supposed to. I thought you were understanding everything." And just, you can tell when Danny's frustrated when he starts a sentence with "look" or a single word and then has to stop because he realizes what he's about to say. He has
It's
to
probably
compose
rude.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Great time. Say, we got memes, though. Not just little pictures of cats. Hard-hitting insight as well, though, as we're going to go through this a little bit. The Votan have finally arrived on a wave of doom and gloom as an untested and powerful book is set to force me to wade through a bunch of 3D printers go burr memes until they release the damn fortress. But the rules are out in the wild now with everyone who could get the box in the first 7 minutes of availability snapping it up. But those damn Germans, again, are banning the Votanians. But this, do you know why it was banned there, Danny?
John, the Votan movement has gained a lot of momentum through the Germany's actions here. Although
the
my
leagues of Votan,
the vote ban. Anyway, after that selection of highbrow humor, in Germany, shockingly, the country that is most open to so many different things and ideas, well known for their flights of fancy and whimsy, just ban the codex outright, waiting until an FAQ is dropped for it. I think this is kind of a thing that they do quite often in WTC, but I think this might be one of the first times a country has kind of unilaterally done this. So
yeah. Well, a lot of the European meta, of course, they're about 6 months ahead, so we will be able to see this in effect in the US in March.
It's good prep for us, really.
But they do have that, if there's no FAQ for the book, then it's not legal to use in the tournament setting. You went a little bug-eyed on that one. What's your thoughts on no FAQ, no play?
I think it's good and bad. There's definitely advantages and disadvantages. I think I probably weigh more on the disadvantages side. I think it's really important to let people play stuff, and if it is broken, instead of waiting for an emergency FAQ when nobody's really sure what's really bad, that it needs to come out, it needs to be played, and it needs to be banned that way, rather than just kind of like a on-site, this looks terrible, like let's make sure nobody gets to play this. It needs to be played for a bit.
Do you think there's a thing, though, if we go to a meta of if there's an FAQ for your book, you don't get to use it, that we are not going to see maybe some of those combos that come out that are truly broken? So a lot of the FAQ comes from kind of stress testing and a lot of players playing it where, Art of War and other people who do those codex reviews can spot the 1 or 2 broken combos like right away out of the book. But generally, when you have 3, 4, 500 games out of a book, that's when the real broken stuff comes out. Do you feel that you're sort of kind of handicapping yourself if you're not allowing it to play until it's been fixed, if you don't know what you're fixing?
Yeah, no, that's 100% my point, John. I totally agree with you. I think it's kind of, and even if Camillary's in the chat saying this is what Germany does every time, okay, whatever. The point here that I'm making is that, and John has made quite eloquently, is that like it's really important to get a statistically significant sample size to determine what's good and what's bad. So, I think we just need the time in the sun. I'm for banning like partial bans, like for models that aren't released, where nobody really has like good dimensions for things. Like, I think.
But what if I'm like 90% sure that's a 120 millimeter oval base, and I'm like 100% sure because it's beside a bloodletter that it has to be 3 inches tall? Can I just 3D print a brick?
Yeah, John. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't be able to use it in an event, is what I'm saying.
No, that's fair. Always letting me go burr. What about separate from that, and not about the FAQ sort of thing. Now we've sort of seen this starting with Sisters, then we saw with Black Templars, with Chaos Knights, a couple of others.
Mhm.
The GW release strategy of an army box coming first with the codex, but the codex not actually being available for a wide release right away. Should you be allowed to use a book that isn't available separately, or in the case of things like the Chaos Knights and the Votan, available at all?
I have less of a problem with that, just because of the proliferation of different areas where you can find the rules online without a charge.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the GW app is updated for this stuff too, I believe. So you could look up the stuff on your official source if you wanted to see a stat block. At least you'd be able to see that if your opponent had that codex. I think it's probably fine. I don't have a problem with that because it's not like it's not released. There's tons of these things circulating out. You just may have to pay a little bit more money initially to get the codex than you would if when the codex releases for mass sale.
Yeah. But regardless of Danny's very nuanced and wonderfully explained approach here, the sky is falling all around, as we kind of see with this guy here, showing that the classic Omni-Man meme, Ultraman, Omni-Man, showing the Leagues of Votan, seeing what the AdMech can do with a fraction of their power. The League has been coming across with most YouTubers and reviewers saying that they're very powerful, and the very occasional Nanavati doing a counter shill video saying that they're fine, which like anti-clickbait. Never thought of it. I'm very impressed.
Wow, that's a whole
But
new market,
what
John, to tap into.
it is. I'm just gonna do like they're probably okay, maybe just really like low self-esteem takes. But why are the leagues of Votan so powerful, and why is everyone so going off on them?
I think there's a lot of new concepts in this book. I think probably some of the units are a little overtuned, like they're underpointed for what their abilities are. I would say probably 4 or 5 out of the 12 data sheets in the book are a little overtuned, which is significant, especially when these are entire units. So I think once those get fixed, I don't think it will be so bad. I think it's a lot of like, well, they get to ignore a lot of the rules of the game, or a lot of like dice rolling by auto wounding stuff with the judgment mechanic. So I think there's probably doesn't feel great a lot of times. Although to counter that, I think there's a lot of conflation where people are like, oh yeah, this thing does like 20 mortal wounds or whatever, and it doesn't really. It does like the land fortress with all the beam strats and everything else can do a lot of damage. It can do a lot of mortal wounds, in fact, but it's not quite as powerful, I think, as a lot of people are letting it on to be. And I think that there's a lot of resource investment there that people aren't accounting for. Like it's similar to the AdMech Knight that does all the mortal wounds on 6s to wound, except these are a little bit more reliable ways to get that much damage on that model. So anyway.
Yeah, so you mentioned the land fortress that's beamed up. What are some other things that people should be on the lookout for?
Oh, sure.
Super powerful units for Votan.
Land fortress is very powerful. The berserks, Chthonian berserks, are probably one of the most insanely underpointed units in the entire game. Like they trade really well because they have fights on death and they auto have reroll charges. They're super good in the Ymir sub faction because then that gives them an invulnerable save when they normally don't get a save at all. They have a 6-up. Them, I would say the bikes are amazing. Like what a great utility unit with a ton of like mid-range shots that do multiple damage. And then finally, I think the Sagittar is really good. I think it's probably being slept on a little bit, but like the 6 Sagittar list where you can break up the 10-man berserk squads into 6 5-mans is like crazy powerful.
No. Chat, by the way, going crazy about the cum weapons. Don't
of course.
think we forgot about
Watch out
those.
for those cum weapons, guys. You don't want to get into a sticky situation.
1 shot per game. Yeah.
Again, refractory period, John.
Is this next meme that we're going to put up here? Is this accurate? And if you could, of course, describe it in your wonderful style for the benefit of the podcast listener.
All right. So, is this Cobra Commander?
I believe it is, yes.
I'm just not used to him in black. Anyway, so it's Cobra Commander. He's sweeping the legs of this dog, and the dog looks kind of happy, but also sad, maybe surprised.
There's
And
no
an
happiness on that
impact
face.
marker right on one of its legs. So it looks like Cobra Commander is either trying to sweep this dog off its feet, or he's trying to kick the dog and it's jumped over his foot. That's a possibility. Anyway, Cobra Commander is labeled with Leagues of Votan, and the dog is labeled your dog. So it's kind of, I think, supposed to be Leagues of Votan kicking your dog is the joke.
Yeah. I'm going to give you what I see when I look at this picture.
Okay.
That I'm happy he didn't pick up on. It looks to me that he summoned the dog from his holster like a Pokemon, and he's throwing it out into the wild.
Maybe I get
Or,
a better
look
quality
how
image, but that dog
it
looks
is.
so
Look-
scary. Like he's scared. Look at him. Those big eyes.
know.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
been
he
in a
looks happy to
Pokeball.
me.
And you see where he got hit by the leg? Oh.
Maybe that's just where Cobra Commander's heel like clicked the ground.
No.
And look, if you look at the airline
I don't
behind
want it
his
anymore.
his leg, it's like super far back. He must have had like a whole 180-degree kick where
Oh,
he's going from like fully extended behind him to fully
Yeah.
extended in front. That's a Cobra Commander's is flexible.
Yeah, he's
Dude, he went to ballet. However, this person here is saying that they're not OP, and if you say that they're broken, you're wrong. He says they are only broken to the simple-minded and cannot see as a challenge to learn how to defeat them on the battlefield. That is good. Those one-dimensional players are leaving. Leaves more for those that want to play for fun, enjoyment, and meeting new people. Someone replied with, "Tell me you bought dwarves without telling me you bought dwarves." And of course, the reply was, "I've been waiting for this army since 1995." Which even StatCheck's Ennis Wilson says he's been waiting for this army since 1995, and he wasn't even born until 2015.
True.
It's true.
I figured
just-
he just kind of coalesced in a gutter somewhere. I don't know.
That is the traditional Scottish birthing period. But you're just simple-minded. One could say, if you cannot see how to defeat the Leagues of Votan, you are not even smart enough to understand the complex and rich humor of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
But Danny, is this guy right? Is this just sort of everyone panicking about the leagues, or is there some smoke behind this fire? Or fire
John,
behind the smoke? Whatever.
Clearly all these people are morons. This guy's got it 100% right. I think we should probably listen to his advice and just be less dumb. You know, he's obviously smarter than us. He's figured it out. Why can't we?
That's true. Okay, so I've seen a lot of meme things and reactions online of they're really slow, that they're easy to beat, and then they're just choosing to willfully ignore all of the ways they have to move very quickly, or just go to close combat with them and choosing to ignore the very good close combat units they have. But how do you, in your five-headed mind, how
With
would
23 years of experience, John.
You're 23 years of experience. You're this cat in this moment. How do you beat the league?
I'm the cat in which moment?
The meme at the start.
Oh, here we
There you
go. Okay.
He brought it up again. Yeah.
Perfect. How do I beat Leagues of Votan?
he plays
Oh,
them.
easy.
Apart from playing them.
I just be better than your opponent, dude. It's the simplest thing. And then if you roll a bunch of sixes, you'll just win. Just stop thinking about it. Just move all your models in the middle of the table and beat them. Just be better than your opponent and roll better than them.
Danny with that free classical advice of just be good.
Jeez.
Don't be bad.
Yeah, don't be bad, be good instead.
Something I've noticed, though, with the league release is this has caused such a huge divide between people saying they're overpowered and people saying they're easy to beat. Like, there's no middle ground here. I think you're giving one of the few nuanced takes. There's like, yeah, it's a pretty thing. But most people are falling either side of the camp. Why do you think that this is the army that's brought out this kind of split reaction?
Oh. Tanya's got the real advice here, dude, in the chat. Bribe your opponent with cookies. Boom.
That'll do it.
Game's over.
That'll do it.
Game's over.
Apart from Ziegler, who you would have to use Castrol, motor oil,
Yeah.
something like that, you would have to assume.
Or some WD-40, you know, if his neck is
Would that be angle shooting based on the ITC code of conduct? if you were to willingly bring multiple boxes of Oreos with you to an event?
No, John, Oreos are round, so it can't be angle shooting.
Jesus.
Man, you know it's good when we're back onto math jokes here.
Wow.
Oh man, sorry. Only if your opponent is diabetic, John, and you're trying to get them into some kind of sugar high. So I'm just saying, you got to be careful with that stuff.
Nurgle Matthew in chat saying the game's instantly stopped for fresh cookies. So now not only do I have to travel to Vegas for LVO with my army book, I have to take an oven with me to
Easy
have at
bake
the
oven,
table
baby.
to freshly bake. I have to find a 220-watt connector in the middle of a hall. I don't think it's going to happen.
John, I got an idea.
Okay.
All right, hear me out
shoot,
here.
over.
All right,
Yeah.
so we get one of those carts, and we get a really long extension cord for a microwave, and we make everybody those coffee cupcakes
Ooh.
at the
Do you
table
feel-
for all of our games. It's perfect.
Do you feel that we would be more or less likely to be canceled as a show if our microwave tripped the breaker that broke BCP in between rounds in 2023?
Probably be canceled.
John, I think I don't think that's how remote databases work, John, but hey, look, I'm not an expert or anything over here. But yeah, maybe people would be mad about that. So maybe we'll hold off until we have our own power source.
You would go in with a gas-powered generator. It'll be fine.
Or just like a car battery. Like we can just hook up the microwave. It'll be perfect.
Burn it down. Anyway, the number one sign to me that the leagues of Votan are in fact overpowered is this picture I found here, which is Seth Oster, host of Signals from the Front
Wait.
Line.
Are we allowed to say his name still? Or like
I think we're
Yeah.
maybe allowed now. I don't know.
okay.
Like if we're not being canceled for the rest of the stuff,
Yeah, we're good.
Then we're not going to be canceled for this one. We're golden.
You know what's really cool about this picture? Can I just
What's
say
that?
this? I like that Seth obviously has photoshopped himself to look more like the Votan with the wrinkled forehead.
But I told actually Seth this earlier today, that Seth is my barometer of whether an army is overpowered, because it's Seth the Mad Dog, famed orc war boss, apart from that one time he took Iron Hands, when Iron Hands were really broken. But it's okay, because he went back to orcs until the Tau Codex came out this year, and he went to Tau. But it's okay, because he went back to orcs until the League of Votan came out right now. So if you don't follow Seth Oster on any kind of social media, you are not meta chasing right.
Oh man. Oh yeah, it's true. Oh wait, the picture's not photoshopped.
I don't think it is. No, that's the real deal.
That's the joke.
That is the real deal. That is just his forehead. Danny, is Seth
man.
a Warhammer version of the groundhog from the U.S. tradition of Groundhog Day, where if he peeks his head out and doesn't buy a box, it's not good?
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment, Sean. You know, people named Seth are famous for being trend chasers and fair weather friends. So just remember that if you consider Seth Oster to be your friend.
Yeah, that's true. And Dickie, keep that shot there as we see Seth beautifully meta chasing with that League of Votan box. And then let me go into my next question here. Danny, how's your Votan army going?
Great. It's super great. I also didn't have an Iron Hands army or Tau army.
If you're just listening to the audio version of this, he very much did. And actually, the exact same times that Seth had his.
But I had
Fair
mine
weather
for
army.
longer. Seth was kind of a late adopter, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, he doesn't have 23 years of cat experience.
That's true.
How does it feel to emulate Seth in your army choices?
I would say it's probably more of the other way around. I would say that I'm more of an inspiration to Seth than he is to me. Although he has inspired me in many ways.
You want to give us some?
Take better care of myself.
Oh.
Also,
Really?
Man, I'm just being really mean to Seth. Seth is great.
That's fair.
I'm
fair.
gonna stop. I gotta stop.
We do love Seth. Evan
We do love
Veldike in chat letting us know the Votan can be beat is a quote from everyone who pre-ordered 2 or more boxes of Votan. Mark of Corn asking, is Seth about to start playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles too? No, he is.
Oh, jeez.
John,
The
but
important-
I haven't even opened this yet. That's my second box. Does that still count?
Oh my god! So moving on.
think
The
it counts
important thing,
more. Yeah.
Danny, I'm really happy that you did say the things that I thought you were going to say when I set this up, because the important thing to remember is what I found in this meme here that says, "Don't mess with us, Warhammer fans. We hate everything, including each other."
It's true.
Hate you, Seth.
Yep.
Let's do something less serious for a few minutes, because we've been pretty 25 minutes, right?
Been so serious
well,
for
give me
25.
minutes.
Yeah.
Let's
The
serious.
stat there, so yeah. No, it's all 15. Proven beat on Reddit. A Team Fortress 2 ship poster. I looked at your history. Don't leave your username up there. Shared this on the Grimdank subreddit, saying, combine the name of 2 chapters and describe what their shtick is. So, Danny,
Okay.
I have a list of some. I've combined some chapter names, and I would love for you to tell me what their shtick is.
Oh
Okay?
yeah, I got it. Go ahead.
Okay. So we have the White Angels.
Oh yeah, okay. Pretty simple here. It's just they're guys who never stop cleaning their armor.
Mhm.
So that they can appear as kind of a heavenly body. They specialize in they specialize in bathroom floors and also kitchens and tile. They've got really good grout cleaning.
The White Lords.
I'm sorry, are all these just white?
No. Please tell me what's the stick of the White Lords.
Well, the White Lords were actually excommunicated for deviant beliefs. So they were purged by the Inquisition, by the Rainbow Warriors, in fact.
It's fair. What about the White Fists?
They're famous for excoriating all the flesh from their right hands. So they just have like a bony claw that they augment with augmetics.
Love
Yeah.
it. Word Hands.
The word hands?
Yeah, the Word Hands.
Oh, due to a select mutation, they're often very forgetful. So they have to write all their phone numbers and other information on their gauntlets so they won't forget.
They get battle honors tattooed on their hand, otherwise
Yeah.
they'd forget all about them.
And it's like, good job at Saturnine. Like it's that kind of stuff. Like
They're
not
like, the hell's a Saturnine?
yeah, what is that?
The Imperial Eaters.
A well-known chapter. They are if you ever need to get inside the mind of the enemy, they have the increased ability to eat, to know whatever they eat. So like
Mhm.
that's how they tell a lot of their stories. Like they'll eat a hot dog and then they'll tell the story of the raccoon and a possum and giraffe that made up that hot dog. And like they'll kind of like go into that as kind of one of their chapter bonding
The
rituals.
41st millennium. If you think those hot dogs are any part non-human, you've been reading different fiction than I have. I have 2 more, and then this awful segment
Oh,
sort
okay.
of. The Thousand Wolves.
It's just 1,000 wolves. It's like just that's the name.
There's no
not even any Space
augmentation,
Marines.
no armor. It's just 1,000 dogs
1,000
they've
wolves.
dropped off. It's like little Shih Tzus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Finally, this is not a death metal band. Maybe it is. The Death Fists.
The Death Fists. Okay. Well, it's actually it's named after a project. It's kind of a tribute to Five Finger Death Punch. And I don't know. Do they like to punch things? What a stupid name.
They're just gonna fist things to death.
It's almost as bad as if somebody had just like, taken 2 random words and made a chapter like, or a legion like the Iron Warriors.
Yeah.
What even is that? What a stupid legion name.
John, you missed the 1,000
awful.
children.
1,000 children.
Very
That is
actually.
just the unfortunate byproduct of a League of Votan
That's
weapons.
so good.
The famous rivals of the Thousand Wolves, actually.
Children
The
versus
1,000
wolves.
children
Their
don't
battles
nearly
were
fare
quick
as well
and
in
bloody.
their honor duels.
Oh no.
Oh boy. Moving on though, the Primarchs aren't getting off that easy though. With this meme I found on Facebook showing, Angron is angry, 10 out of 10 name. Sanguinus is sanguine, 10 out of 10 name. Ferris Manus has an iron hand, 9 out of 10 name, but he had to use Google
He
Translate.
used 2 of them.
Horus doesn't even fuck a lettuce, 1 out of 10, an utter failure. I don't understand the lettuce bit. I'm not that smart. But which other Primarchs, Danny, don't actually match their names?
Probably Korax. That has nothing to do with ravens. I don't even know why they would name him that. It's like it doesn't even make any sense. Korax, like that's not the scientific name for a raven, is it? No, I don't think so.
No. But a squad of them are called murders.
That's crow.
The important thing, crow, raven, they're all the same thing. The important thing to remember is that this ad exists, which I found online again on Facebook, showing the profession that is Ezekiel Abaddon and his Ezekiel Abaddon and his place in this real church band and their album "Pumping My Organ for Jesus" with Ezekiel on the accordion. Now, Danny, this obviously doesn't carry over, as Jesus isn't a deity in the 41st millennium.
Yeah,
so what is Abaddon pumping his organ for in the 41st millennium?
Well, obviously it's Henrietta Roanoke, his famous seer, who you can
Charming
see in here
voice.
playing the accordion. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Evan again in chat letting us know Egyptian Horus screwed a lettuce. Which mythology? Why are you like that? Which reminds me, actually, all of this thing like screwing lettuce, pumping organs for Jesus. We want to issue an official apology for this joke we made last week about official competitive vibrating butt plugs from Art of War. In sizes from extra small to extra large. Obviously, this is not true, as no competitive player would actually need an extra small butt plug. Danny, we are old as heck, and to prove it, hey, GW is celebrating 35 years of Warhammer 40,000 and 35 hours of total game balance by 2024 with an epic new mini, but sadly, not the game of epic. But maybe, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, at this point, you're just adding tanks to Titanicus, and we'll be very happy with that. So I can have another game that I don't play. Danny, what do you make of 40K turning 35?
Well, thanks for somehow making me feel even older than I already am, because now I'm older than 40K. So that's a good feeling.
Good. I mean, you still are, regardless of the age of 40K.
Anyway, so I just I can't wait to see what the future is going to bring. Who knows what the next stage of this game will be?
Brother, let's hold that up to the follow-up question there. Holy cow. I have to ask you first, is every year of 40K's existence a slap in the face to Warhammer Fantasy Battles?
Oh, Jesus.
Look, John, there doesn't need to be this needless rivalry between these two games, between square basers and round basers. Like, can't we just all come together and enjoy this hobby? Like, look, just because 40K is checkers and Warhammer Fantasy is chess doesn't mean that you have to get all upset and angry that that Warhammer Fantasy existed and was a better game. Like, it's all right. It's all right.
So when you say Warhammer Fantasy is like chess, does that mean you expect the old world to incorporate modern chess tactics in its gameplay?
Right, John, like a vibrating butt plug. You got it.
That's fair. Awesome. Moving on to what you were saying there, though. Mark of Corn, by the way, asking, what's the point of a rivalry with a dead brand? It's less of a rivalry and just me being a dick. I think that's about it on that one there. But where do you see Warhammer in 35 years?
Oh God, John, if I'm still playing Warhammer in 35 years, I just want you to come and kill me. Please kill me. Just end it. Like I just want you to sneak into my room, put a pillow on my face. Like just let me go. Let me go into the sweet, the release of death.
It's sweet that you think at 74 I would have the strength to hold the pillow down.
Just use your weight. Use your weight. It
It's
won't
fair.
be hard.
Are in the future, are minis going to be a thing?
Yeah, hover miniatures.
Hover miniatures.
Yeah. You can play
Love
the
it.
game in midair, John.
It's going to be like Back to the Future, Part 2, where Nick Nanavati is going to find a sports almanac or a codex from the future and come back and use that to be first place in the ITC every season.
Man, what a great use of that.
Yeah.
Really just decided to go for the absolute best value there for himself, like just to become ITC champion.
That reminds me, we should find a bookie or a Batman in Vegas who will let us bet on LVO.
Oh yeah, I'd be down
and
for
go
that.
from there.
Can we
I
already
like
do
that.
that?
And we'll see how much.
It's not a thing.
It's Vegas. They're going to take money in anything.
Yeah.
That's what will make it work. The new model though is beautiful. It's coming up right here. We're going to get a beautiful new Emperor's Champion that is going to be completely unusable in every game, but fantastic looking. I love this miniature here. Danny, what are your thoughts on this model?
Oh, it's a great model, John. You love to see that orc getting put in his place, and that's in the dirt. No more
fair.
wah from that guy. There's a sword in his throat.
That's right. Do you prefer special anniversary figures like this being more of a diorama style miniature than a single piece for game use?
I just like this model. I don't care either way. I mean, it's fine to me. I think you could go either way with that, really. Like, the point of these, though, isn't to be generally appealing, I think. So probably a less game pose and a more, like, diorama pose is probably going to be more special for these kinds of models.
Mm-hmm. How does this rank compared to the last anniversary figure, which was the Imperial Space Marine?
Oh, do we have a picture of that thing? Because that thing is
No,
like
we don't.
real stupid.
Oh, I don't have it in here. I really should have. Yeah, but like, yeah, for everyone complaining about the 35th anniversary miniature, please Google Imperial Space Marine and just realize how wonderful this guy is right here. This is going to be a stupid question, Danny. Will you be getting this miniature?
Yeah, probably.
Will you be selling the orc so you can use the model in your game? No.
No, I'll be putting the orc as dead under some other, appropriate hero space.
That's it. Mark of Corn letting us know. I think the sculptor just got a typo in the model and put the model on a tactical orc instead of a tactical rock. It's good. You guys are funnier than us. Why are you even here? Mainly, though, people seem to be a bit miffed. This person says it better than I ever could, as he lets us know that he's upset because it is the new model is chapter Pacific.
Dude, I hate the Pacific chapter.
What are your thoughts of this event model being a chapter specific one? Everything we've seen up until this point, yes, is most likely being a space marine of some kind, but it hasn't had a ton of iconography on it. I think the last one I can remember having specific iconography was the Games Day Blood Angel Captain.
Great question, John. So I think, I'm fine with it being a Black Templar. Like, it's cool for them to get a model like this. It kind of reminds me of that really old school, Emperor's Champion model they had for a long time. That was the guy who was two-handing the sword. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dickie was showing us right there. It is not a chapter-specific model, because if you turn it a little bit, it is in fact an orc finishing off a fallen space marine. Just angle that head down a little bit. Yeah, that guy's ready to go.
What with the
Danny,
sword?
You don't look like you believe that whatsoever.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
It's only like a slight flesh wound to the neck.
Yeah, he's
It's
fine.
probably fine.
Orcs famously don't have necks.
That's fair. That's fair. Next, not very cool at all. Uh,
Pretty cringe in the orc community.
Dickie, I know we said we would just keep making Danny progressively bigger, but you are incredibly large now. Oh, Danny, you sent this one in. Please explain it for the class.
Oh yeah, so there was that guy who, God, do we have the art for the original thing? Like, anyway, oh my God. So talk about your thirsty Warhammer players. So this is a Vindicare assassin using a Calidus assassin as a rifle rest for his Exodus rifle, but on her butt cheeks, and then her hair is flipped around. Somehow the rifle, I don't know why she's
I
flipping
have
her
to
hair
say,
around it.
if her hair is flipped around in that position, he had to have slammed that rifle down so hard that she's broken her tailbone.
Yeah, he broke it off inside, John.
My first question I have here is why?
I mean, I've got a lot of answers to that question, I think. Well, maybe not answers, but I have ideas. A lack of hugs from your mother as a child. I would also say probably, I don't know, some type of trauma in your past would cause you to make this. A view that women are objects. I mean, like there's a lot of things wrong with. Okay,
somewhere there's a master's student at a college who has a 75-page thesis on this terrible quality print. I do want to point out this is a terrible quality print.
I mean, all right. Can I say one more thing about it?
Sure.
Why doesn't she just morph into a rifle stand?
That is a question I have later on here. Okay. But is this an ingenious use of available supplies or a write-up for the Vindicator from his handler for forgetting his tripod?
I mean, he's definitely getting written up. But then again...
HR is getting involved.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely going to have a permanent record here. But, like, keep in mind... he's utilizing his environment in the best way possible. So I think there's points for creativity for the Vindicare in this situation, kind of.
Yeah. This is now multiple sexualized Calidus assassins that we've seen or have been sent to me. And so like the downside of doing the show is my inbox is just filled with just trash. Does this kill your desire for literally any more female miniatures to be made whatsoever? Because as soon as they are, someone is going to put an Exodus long rifle on them.
I mean, it was going to happen anyway.
It's fair.
So, I mean, John, there's a lot of really shitty miniatures out there and a lot of shitty fan art. It doesn't matter what GW does. Somebody's going to sexualize something about it. Like, nobody wants to see a sexualized war boss, but I've seen one before. I'm not happy about it. I wish it wouldn't have happened to me. And I
still drew it.
I feel abused.
Why hasn't someone designed a male assassin using his bio-enhanced butthole to steady the gun?
Well, John, to answer that question, you have to look at what the demographics of 40K are.
Repressed. And, that's why I asked that question.
I think you kind of answer your own question there.
Dang it. Well, we're going to move on, Danny, to our final sort of topic tonight.
Oh, okay.
Blog for the Blood God is a place I do genuinely enjoy visiting. They shared a video with his thoughts on the ITC ranking system. And although in the comments that he found it was important enough to make a video about this topic, he did say, responding to someone that in the next slide here, he couldn't be arsed sending it in to anyone and he's better just ranting about it online, which is a kind of self-reflection I can really appreciate. We did try reaching out to Frontline about this, but at 2 a.m., the only one responding was Val. He just said he put it on the whiteboard and called it sport. The only other person we could find was this guy here, who is in fact on our next side a Washington State cannabis seller who sort of looks like Reese. But I figured, Denny, we'd have a chat about it here. That's a real guy, by the way, in Washington. Some people sent us to it, or
Yep.
some people sent it to us. Some disclaimers before we move forward with anything. Although
Damn.
we are sponsored by Frontline, we are not Frontline. We hold zero authority or inner knowledge. I'm going to cite the fact that we've made Art of War butt plug jokes 2 weeks in a row to show this.
Mhm.
And also, though Danny and I do receive review copies of product from Games Workshop, we do not have any say on how anything goes. We just get to read stuff a few days early. And now with that out of the way, let's touch on some stuff in the video, which you should definitely check out on the blog for the Blood God channel. Danny, any more disclaimers you want to throw in there before we start ripping stuff apart?
Yeah, because we have the tacit approval of this individual who may or may not be Reese, or Reese's biological twin brother. We've gotten some sign off on some segments that we'd like to pursue, like
Bong for the Bong God?
yeah, and honestly, some ITC branded sex toys is another thing I'd really like to be moving into. I think those neoprene mats, like what we do with them and what we could do in this industry, could really revolutionize things.
They are waterproof, but now Danny and I no longer receive review copies of product from anyone. The show is also not sponsored by anyone. The video is about 30 minutes long. Listen to it for nothing else. For the 8-minute mark, he almost gets in a car accident. But the 3 main points he brings up are how best in faction is ranked, how team events affect scores, and how scores are calculated. He's mentioning here how best in faction is ranked is kind of his initial thing here. If you're number one in a faction, say, so we're going to use his example he uses in the video, which is Chaos Space Marines.
Mm-hmm.
And he says a few times that he was the number one ranked Chaos Space Marine player. When that book came out and that army received a significant sort of glow up from what it was before, is it still the same faction? And is it fair to rank Chaos Space Marine players playing the old book to Chaos Space Marine players playing the new book?
I mean, I would say almost always those players are going to be at a disadvantage anyway, because the new book is almost certainly better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fair to have those kind of scores transfer over. I think that's fine. But yeah, so that's the way I feel about that. I think it's okay to let those kind of percolate and stay in the pool. They worked way harder for a lot of those wins anyway, probably. So it would be, following that same logic, if a big FAQ or fact comes out for an army, are they the same army anymore? Probably not. So is it fair to keep their scores in the system? I mean, yeah, unanimously, I think people would say yes. Something
that's brought up here is if you dedicate your season to playing a faction, and then it gets kind of this glow up, like we've seen with Chaos Space Marines, like we've seen with Necrons, Renegade Knights are another one that kind of comes to mind here. Demons, where their book could just be toilet tier trash, and it would still be an improvement in their old book. And then you have a bunch of really good players jumping on board. So like you have your Quennells, your Innes Wilsons kind of jumping on after the book glows up. Is that fair for the players who played it when it was terrible to be supplanted by, and this is going to make it sound like I'm leading the question here, better players now that the book isn't bad?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, simple.
I wouldn't use Innes Wilson, though. I have 100% win rate against Innes, and I'm never going to let that go.
How many times have you played?
Just once.
Oh, perfect. Never play him again. His proposed solution here, because I'll give him the credit that he actually does propose solutions and things he would like to see.
Yeah.
Because, hey, internet videos, complainers, because I hate videos where they just complain, propose solutions, even if you're terrible. There's nothing constructive about telling people something's bad and then just offering nothing in return. This guy, he offered opinions, and that's why we're talking about it here. His proposed solution was declare at the start of the season your faction.
Ooh.
Now, you can still generate ITC points for any faction for your overall score, but you only earn best in faction points for your chosen faction at the start of your year. Danny, I have strong thoughts about that, but you are also making several head movements that the crowd is being robbed of. What's your take on that?
That's a fucking terrible take, John. Jesus Christ. What? That is so bad. What? How does that solve any problems? What is this supposed to do? Is it supposed to keep one person from winning 2 Best in Factions awards? Oh, congratulations. You gatekept that person who would normally have won multiple factions because they're good from doing that. So I hope you're happy.
I think my issue with a system like this is it's still, you can game this really easily. All I'm going to do is just, I'm not going to declare until later in the year. We know which books are coming, you know? I'm going to grossly cough in here. We know what books are coming. I'll declare them, or kind of we'll go from there. There's a lot of ways around it. And then also, guys, let me tell you, the rankings are very complex, and this adds so much complexity in there. And then if you, for example, email Frontline and be like, hey, I declared this as my faction, but you actually put it as this, but it's like 7 months ago.
Right.
What happens there? What are some other solutions that you can think of that you think would help overall with sort of keeping what some people might see a fairer best in faction system?
Well, so I'm sorry. So what's the perceived injustice with the best in faction system?
The perceived injustice here for this video is that this person has been #1 in Chaos Space Marines all year.
Uh-huh.
And now that it's a good book, other people are coming on it, and better players who have more access to larger events are going with the army and starting to leapfrog up when they haven't necessarily just, they're kind of jumping flavor of the monthy.
Oh, what a bitch. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously? Like, okay, people are going to switch armies, and they can do that throughout the season. Like, having a rule that, like, locks you into one army at the beginning of the season is beyond stupid. Like, I don't want to play the same army for a year at events, or, like, even, what if I want to switch up in the middle of the year? I mean, what you've done is
Now, he
created a
did
rule
say
that
that you can play
fun.
whatever army you want. You just don't earn best in faction for it.
Yeah, but why? But why? I don't understand what, like, the reason that he wants to do this is stupid. So this is motivated purely selfishly. So because this guy feels like he's entitled to this best in faction thing. Well, hey, guess what, buddy? The army's better now. You better pick up the pace. Like, get good fast, or don't play something else. Like, or don't care about your best in faction rank because it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, well, we have here, like, chats coming in, let us know that casual just want faction loyalty to be rewarded. Beardy, the effing gamer, is going to respond with a very rude word responses, which I'm not even going to say on Twitch here. But they do sort of have a point where we're kind of seeing this divide here. But we're going to move on because, like I said, I don't think that's a genuine thing, and especially now that we're seeing more GW involvement with the ITC, guys. It's a GW thing now, pretty much. If I remember correctly, famously, they don't like restricting people, and any kind of restrictions aren't probably going to happen. The next thing that he talks about here is how team events affect scores. Now, Danny, I know we're in America here, so team event is more in...
What even is that?
5 or more
last
people
week.
come together. As our producer lets us know, that the Las Vegas team tournament was a phenomenal success for Frontline Gaming this past weekend. But it isn't as common as it is, say, in your Australias and your Europes. I'm glad it's getting a headway over here. But there's some points in the video here that I want to go over. Danny, again, try and restrain your confused face a little bit here. But right now, team events for the ITC are scored with points based off of individual results. Is this a fair system for what you know of the team competition?
You mean how team events are not worth that many points because it's based on the number of teams?
Well, you're judged off your individual results. Now, a very negative example he gives, where I want to say, this is what I disagree with here. He says that if a captain will pair themselves more favorably to inflate their score. If I could take this one here. No one should care about their ITC score enough to screw over their friends. I think if I went to a team tournament, right, Danny, and say it was me, you, maybe Taylor, maybe a couple other people, at no point is my finishing position in a fake league of pretend internet points important enough to screw up actual friendships, and the majority of these teams are very good friends. So I don't think that that's going to be something that happens. He does propose an interesting thing, though, here, Danny, that team score counts, but in sort of a weird, complex hybrid system. So you kind of get half team score, half individual score. So you're scored based on your performance and the team's performance.
I don't think that. Yeah, I think that's bad. I don't think that they should just. I don't think they should score teams and individual points. I think that's a bad. I think that's a bad idea. Like I support teams being ranked.
Mhm.
Like, but I think it's stupid to like rank a team event in individual points because that's not the point of team events.
Mhm.
So I kind of see the point of this one a little bit more. That kind
Yeah.
of makes more sense.
And he
to me.
does say his first solution is just don't use team event scores or have a separate scoring for team events.
Yeah.
Which totally agree with, because like I said, if I'm going to a team event, a lot of the time I'm going to be the player who's placed into losing games, because mentally it doesn't really bother me. I can frustrate and maybe eke out a couple points, but it's not there to sort of win, which is a tactic for teams. I don't feel that reflects on my performance as an individual player, so I personally just don't think that they should impact individual results. And Danny, you're getting a lot of support from chat for that opinion, so good job. 1 out of 2.
Oh.
The final point he makes here is how scores are calculated in general. Now, he does say that he believes ITC is a proprietary formula, but he feels that this formula should be visible for all to see, and it should be freely available, so the math is completely visible. Danny, what's your take on that?
Why? I mean, let them have the thing that they invented. Like, let them benefit from the trade secret that they've created. Like, they put a lot of money into ITC. I think it's okay for them if they want to keep this proprietary for them to do so.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure if you subscribe to Frontline Plus, though, that does give you access to the proprietary algorithm. But who knows? It's not a real thing. Please give us money. He does say, though, larger events do give more points, but that might not necessarily be a fair system. The point that he brings up in his video here is the Australia Masters is a tournament where the 16 best players in Australia, and you know they're good because they won WTC this year. There's a lot of incredible Australian players.
Sure.
They meet up and they have just a hard as balls event with the best players in Australia. That tournament is worth less points wise than a 32-person random GT, even though it should be a harder event. Yeah. You agree? So what do you think that should be worth less?
I because it's what, a 16-person event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So what if it's the hardest room? It doesn't matter. Like, different places are going to have a different amount of difficulty. If you want to rank it higher in the Australian tournament championships, like, you're more than welcome to do your own ranking systems for Australia. But like,
they won't give away the algorithm, Danny. Dang it! No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, if you don't like it, get out. Is that the algorithm? That's the American one. So I don't know. So like in this scenario, right? It's important to remember that this is like this is an international tournament circuit. Like that's what we're going for here. So there has to be parity in some ways. And unfortunately right now we don't have parity in the way that tournaments are run or that tables are set up or anything like that. So if we can have one constant in the way that events are scored, I think that's giving us at least one thing that we can measure.
Mm-hmm. So he does suggest 3 different solutions here, which all seem incredibly hard to implement. But I'm going to throw them out here and see what your take is, Dan.
I can't wait to see what garbage idea he has next.
And I do want you to remember that I did message you before this and said not to go too hard.
Oh, yes,
sorry. Solution 1. Add the scores of the ITC scores of the players at the event. The higher the score, the higher the number of ITC points you earn for attendance.
Okay. All right. And look, this guy's ideas haven't all been bad. His team's idea was good.
The idea of don't do it.
Yeah, don't do that thing. That's a good idea. I think that's valid.
Yeah. Okay, so we like that idea, adding up everyone's scores and kind of a higher prestige event being a better one.
I mean, no, I don't. I don't think that. Like, if you want to, if we were tracking ELO, I think that you could do that kind of stuff. But I don't know that. I, I don't think we're there yet with the number of people to do that kind of that kind of a ranking system.
Well, then I think my issue with that is it weights people unfairly. So, say
Yeah,
if you have an 8-person RTT, but you want to make it huge points value, so maybe I'm going to pay Vanessa's like what, fourth, fifth, eighth, so he's top 10, right, for ITC,
he's
somewhere in
like
there.
10th place. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm going to pay Vanilla $50 to sign up for my tournament, so everyone's high scores are there, and then he drops round one, or he drops after round one. What does that do for the overall score? Does it drop it? And then is that fair to the rest of the people who showed up expecting this kind of premier event?
I don't know. I don't think that weighting events like that is good. I think you have to just take people as they come and rank based on the number of people and the number of rounds.
I will say, you're talking ELO. Chad's bringing up a really good point of the ever problematic ELO ranking system. Who has time to track all of that and why? I wanted to tell you, StatCheck, of course, podcast that we love here. We love all the guys in that. There's 3 behind the scenes people updating that data constantly for pretty much free. And then now we want to expand that to just thousands for everyone. Here we go. Solution number 2, though. Your points for winning are based on your opponent's ITC score. So if you look at the game, Danny, where you beat Innes Wilson, 100% fair and square, that score would be worth more because he was a higher ranked player.
Bad.
Okay.
Like, and here's why. It's because it's because of random draws. Like you'd be drawing against. A lot of times you wouldn't get as many points as somebody who is ranked against a more evenly matched opponent than if you smashed a baby seal, which I mean, that's just part of the luck of pairings. Like
yeah. And finally his idea, and Danny, just go on, chains off. When you beat someone, you get 10% of their ITC score.
Wait, okay, hold on. Let me try and understand this here. All right.
Okay.
Is this like an anti-type situation? So if I play you, I get to steal part of your points?
For pinks.
So, like, you have a chip pool, and at the start of the game, 10% is anteed up on both sides, and if I win, I get 10% of your points. That's how you rank people?
Yeah.
So, I think the idea of that, while interesting, I think is going to lead to a lot of situations where people are going to gotcha each other. Like, oh yeah, I can beat this like well-known player who's very good, but I'm just going to try and gotcha him as hard as I possibly can, as much as I can, so that if I can get that surprise sneaky win, like I get a boatload of points off of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that encourages bad behavior.
Also, it's kind of a feels bad where if you play against and if you're taking 10% of his score. Current number 1 in the ITC is Jack Harpster from Art of War with 1,409 points. If you were to beat him that way, and if he was to lose a game to you, he would drop to 9th instantly in one game. Which, it's a feels bad.
It's everything.
Danny, what are kind of like, so that's all the real points from the video. Like I said, definitely check it out. I understand his frustrations for whatever we've said for the past 20 minutes or so.
And you know what? It's important to bring these new ideas to light. Like, if people have ideas about how to improve a system, the system's not perfect. So send them to this guy. He is really receptive to any kind of new ideas revolving the ITC.
Little Reese Rastins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Danny said before I cut him off so rudely, send them in. Dude, like, if you have ideas... like, genuinely send them in, and I'm sure there's stuff that can be worked on. Generally, people are very receptive. Escape from this cycle of putting a bright colored background and a shocked face, like in front of your video, and complaining about a bunch of stuff, but never actually doing anything about it. Yeah, and he just. Damn, we could have like a bajillion.
Dude, I'm thumbnail city over here, John.
I just feel bad because I sent her to him, so he has to look at her thumbnails all the time, and I'm like, oh man,
it's true. And so these guys sound like the GWFAQ. Ask for ideas and don't change stuff, which I challenge you for. If you're asking for ideas and things don't change, that's still better than complaining and doing nothing about it. Danny, you seem to be stuck. We're gonna wrap this up here. Get Dickie on out of here. What else do you want to add in here before we wrap up for the night?
It's not, look, always solicit new ideas. I think it's important to have that exchange, but call a spade a spade. It's important to make sure that if you see things that are stupid, don't go along with it just because it's new. There we go. Perfect case in point.
Perfect case in point. That was
if the Siegler is too loose a fit, try the Harpster.
It's like literally the one I told you not to use. You never check any of the messages. Guys, chat, listeners, viewers, we love you all. Truly, we do.
Absolutely.
And Blog for the Blog God is a really good thing.
Yeah,
and like
check it out.
I appreciate his passion. I really do. I was going to have him come on so we could talk about this stuff. Danny's responses have made me a little happy. I haven't, honestly. When I finally watched this video, I realized it was actually Tuesday morning in Australia by that point, so he would have already missed the show. But what do I know? It's just international time zones. Guys, it's an amazing show. We're going to be back next Monday. Continue to go over the highest highs, the lowest lows. I want to personally thank everyone who sends me just the most bizarre, weirdest thing that is even tangentially related to Warhammer. Like, guys, someone sent me a picture of a weed dealer who looks like Reese. Like that's the level
Pretty
of
amazing.
quality
Yeah.
that we're getting in our inbox. But we'll be back, same grimdark time, same grimdark channel, hopefully. Thank you everyone for watching. And as always, it's always grim after dark.